Hello everyone, I'm Shazana. Presenting on the topic of Muwadha'Ah for my Fin 546 course. This concept is a fascinating aspect of Islamic finance that focuses on transparency and trust in discount sales. So, what exactly is Muwadha'Ah? As it core, it is a sale of trust, known in Arabic as Bay al-Amanah. In this specific type of transaction, the seller must disclose the original purchase cost of the goods to the buyer. The goods are then sold at a price lower than the original price, effectively providing a rebate or a discount. To make this contract valid, there are 5 key elements or pillars. The first key element is contracting parties or al-aqidan. So, al-aqidan is where the seller and buyer are mutually agreed to the transaction. The second key element is subject matters, ma'kud alay or ma'bi. It is where the goods or assets being sold must be lawful, valuable, clearly identified, owned by the seller, and deliverable. The third key element is price or saman. It is where the seller price must be clearly known and agreed upon. Muwadha'Ah, the price is lower than the seller's disclosed original cost. And the fourth element is sigat or ijab wa kabul. The offer and acceptance must be clearly expressed and mutually understood in the same contractual session. And the last key element is cost disclosure. As a trust sale, the seller must honestly disclose the original purchase cost to the buyer before the rebate or discounted sales is agreed upon. How it works or the modus operandi. First, disclosure of original cost, where the seller honestly informs the buyer about the actual original purchase price of the goods. Second, agreement on the rebate or discount. Both parties will agree that the goods will be sold below the original cost price. Third, determinations of the final price. The seller and the buyer will determine the final discounted selling price. Offers and acceptance, ijab and qabul. The contract is concluded through mutual offers and acceptance between both parties. Next, payment and transfer of ownership. The buyer will make the payment and the ownership of the goods will then transfer to the buyer. The last process is verifications of trust. The transaction must be based on honesty, transparency, and trust, since the buyer relies on the seller disclosure of the original cost. Now, let's move on to the related issues. Breach of amanah is one of the significant issues in this contract. It is important to be honest. The seller must disclose the actual original cost of the goods to the buyer. If the seller hides the information or give a false cost price, it is considered as a breach of amanah or trust. This issue may lead to disputes and unfair transactions because the buyer relies on the seller's honesty. The second related issue is the buyer right of rescission. In this contract, the buyer has the right to cancel the contract if there is misrepresentations of the original cost price. For example, if the buyer later discovers that the seller lied about the original purchase price, the buyer may return the goods or renegotiate the final price. This helps to protect the buyer from unfair dealings. Depreciated assets. This contract is commonly used for depreciated assets or old stock. Goods are sold below the original purchase price because their value has decreased over time. This may happen due to damage, age, or low market demand. However, dispute may arise if the buyer feels that the reduced price is still not fair or reasonable. Now, the importance of the contract. Firstly, consumer protections. This contract helps to protect the buyers by ensuring the seller clearly discloses the original cost and discount price. This will help to prevent the deceptions and unfair transaction. Thus, the buyer can make informed decision based on the transparent information. Another important aspect in this contract is Sharia compliant discounts and promotion. This contract can be used in promotional sales or discount, where sellers offers goods below the original cost price in a transparent and ethical manner. It allows businesses to attract customers and clear stock, while still following Sharia principles such as honesty, fairness, and transparency in trade. Prevention of fraud and unfair profit. It is important to encourage honesty in stating the original purchase price. It helps to prevent the seller from gaining profit through false information and at the same time promote fairness in business transactions. Lastly, upholding ethical standard or amanah in business transaction. This contract emphasizes honesty, trust, and transparency between seller and buyer. The seller must truthfully disclose the original cost price of the goods to avoid deception. By practicing amanah, it helps strengthen confidence and build good relationships between both parties in trade. In conclusion, Muwadha'Ah is a trust-based sale contract in Islamic commercial law where the seller discloses the original cost price and sells the goods below the price. This contract emphasizes honesty, transparency, and amanah in business transactions. It also promotes ethical trading practices, strengthens trust between the sellers and buyer, and ensures that transactions are conducted according to Sharia principles.
Thank you for watching.